You're driving home. It's getting dark. The road ahead is almost completely empty. Just miles of trees, cornfields, and silence. Then, a dirty old van suddenly appears behind you. It comes closer and closer until it's almost touching your bumper. You grip the steering wheel, wondering if the driver is drunk or angry or both. A few minutes later, the van disappears. You finally breathe again. But then, you see it parked beside an abandoned building. A man is standing behind it, dragging something wrapped in a white sheet. The sheet is soaked in blood. You don't know it yet, but you've just become one of the last people to see a murderer before he disappears. Years later, millions of people would unknowingly watch this exact moment inside one of the most iconic horror movies ever made. Tonight, we're talking about the real murder case that many people believe inspired Jeepers Creepers. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. Before we begin, I need to say one thing. The creator of Jeepers Creepers has never officially confirmed that this case inspired the movie. But after hearing what happened, I'll let you decide for yourself. Our story begins long before that lonely country road. It begins with a marriage that was already falling apart. His name was Dennis DePue. To most people, Dennis looked ordinary. He worked as a nurse, lived in Michigan, raised children with his wife, Marilyn. From the outside, they looked like any other American family. But behind closed doors, their marriage had been deteriorating for years. Friends described Dennis as controlling, possessive, someone who struggled to accept rejection. Arguments became frequent. The relationship slowly collapsed. Eventually, Marilyn decided she had enough. She filed for divorce. For many people, divorce marks the end of a relationship. But for Dennis, it became the beginning of an obsession. He couldn't accept that she was moving on. The more independent she became, the angrier he grew. According to investigators, he continued contacting her, watching her, trying to regain control over someone who no longer wanted anything to do with him. April 15th. It was supposed to be a normal Sunday. Dennis arranged to meet Marilyn. The two were expected to discuss family matters. Instead, something happened during that meeting. Something that would end Marilyn's life. Investigators later determined Dennis shot his ex-wife. Then he wrapped her body inside a white bedsheet, loaded her into his van, and began driving. He wasn't running yet. Not yet. First, he needed to make the evidence disappear. While Dennis searched for somewhere isolated, another couple was enjoying what should have been an ordinary drive. Their names were Ray and Marie Thornton. Unlike Dennis, they had absolutely nothing to do with this tragedy. They were simply driving south along Snow Prairie Road through rural Michigan. The road stretched endlessly ahead. No traffic. Very few houses. Just farmland, trees, and empty sky. Then, without warning, an old brown van appeared behind them. Marie immediately noticed how fast it was moving. The van closed the distance almost instantly. It came so close, they thought it was going to hit them. Ray tightened his grip on the wheel. trying to stay calm. The van continued tailgating them for several terrifying seconds, before suddenly swerving around them and speeding away. Marie caught a quick glimpse of the license plate. She remembered seeing the letters G-Z. That tiny detail would stay with her forever. Eventually, the van disappeared over the hill. The Thorntons laughed nervously. Maybe the driver was impatient. Maybe he was just reckless. They tried putting the whole thing behind them, until they saw the van again. This time, it was parked beside an abandoned schoolhouse. The building looked forgotten. Broken windows, faded walls, overgrown weeds. The kind of place you drive past without thinking twice. Except there was someone standing behind the van. A man. He appeared to be dragging, or folding, a large white sheet. At first, Ray thought it was laundry. Then the sunlight caught it. Dark stains covered almost the entire fabric. Not dirt. Not mud. Blood. Marie stared silently through the passenger window. Neither of them spoke. As they slowly passed, the man suddenly noticed them. He froze. Then quickly disappeared behind the abandoned building, taking the sheet with him. Neither Ray nor Marie could explain it, but something inside them immediately knew they had just witnessed something they were never supposed to see. Ray kept driving. For a while, neither of them said a word. Eventually, Marie broke the silence. "What do you think that was?" Ray didn't answer, because deep down, he already knew. Whatever was inside that sheet wasn't supposed to be there. And somehow, their nightmare was only just beginning. The Thorntons continued driving, but neither of them could shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Most people, after seeing what looked like a blood-soaked sheet, would have driven straight to the nearest police station. But Ray and Marie did something very different. They turned the car around. They wanted another look. Slowly, they drove back toward the abandoned schoolhouse. This time, the man was nowhere to be seen, but the van was still there. As they passed, they noticed something that made both of them freeze. The passenger door was hanging open. There was blood inside the van. Blood on the door. Blood on the floor. Whatever they had seen before wasn't their imagination. Something violent had happened. For a brief moment, they considered getting out, looking behind the abandoned building, trying to understand what they had just witnessed. Thankfully, they didn't. Because at that very moment, the man they had seen was still nearby. His name was Dennis DePue, and earlier that day, he had murdered his ex-wife. The blood-covered sheet contained evidence from the crime scene. Dennis had been trying to hide it before anyone noticed. Without realizing it, Ray and Marie had driven directly into the middle of a murder investigation before police even knew a murder had taken place. The couple immediately contacted authorities. They described everything: the old brown van, the abandoned schoolhouse, the blood, the aggressive driver, even the partial license plate Marie remembered. Investigators rushed to the location. Not long afterward, they discovered Marilyn DePue's body. Dennis had vanished. He abandoned his old life, changed his identity, moved hundreds of miles away. Eventually, he settled in Texas. He even entered another relationship. To everyone around him, he appeared perfectly ordinary. Meanwhile, back in Michigan, the investigation stalled. Months became years. Dennis remained one of America's most wanted fugitives. Then, television entered the story. In 1991, the case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries. The producers recreated everything. The lonely country road, the old brown van, the abandoned schoolhouse, the blood-stained sheet, Ray and Marie's terrifying encounter. Millions of Americans watched the episode, including Dennis himself. According to investigators, seeing his own crime recreated on national television terrified him. He suddenly disappeared. Again. His girlfriend noticed something wasn't right. Eventually, members of her family recognized Dennis from the television broadcast. They contacted police. Authorities tracked him across several states. The chase finally ended in Ohio. Police surrounded Dennis's vehicle. There was nowhere left to run. Before officers could arrest him, Dennis took his own life. Just like that, the case was officially over. Or so everyone thought. More than a decade later, a horror movie became one of the biggest cult classics ever made. Its opening scene felt strangely familiar. Think about it. Two innocent people, driving down an isolated country road. A terrifying vehicle appears behind them. It drives aggressively, nearly forcing them off the road. A few minutes later, they see that same vehicle parked beside an abandoned building. Someone is disposing of something, wrapped in what appears to be a blood-soaked sheet. The vehicle returns, following them again, threatening them. Sound familiar? That's exactly how Jeepers Creepers begins. The similarities became impossible for horror fans to ignore. The setting, the sequence of events, even the feeling of slowly realizing you've stumbled into something horrific. None of it felt coincidental. To this day, the filmmaker has never officially confirmed Dennis DePue's case as the inspiration. But countless viewers, including true crime investigators, have pointed out how remarkably similar the opening scenes are. Perhaps the supernatural monster came from fiction, but maybe its entrance came from reality. And honestly, I think that's the scariest part. Because when you watch Jeepers Creepers, it's easy to remind yourself, it's only a movie. But for Ray and Marie Thornton, there were no cameras, no actors, no special effects. Just an empty road, an abandoned schoolhouse, and a stranger trying to hide evidence, and a decision to drive back. One small decision that could have cost them their lives. Sometimes we think horror movies are terrifying because they're unrealistic. But every once in a while, you discover a story like this. And suddenly, fiction doesn't feel so fictional anymore. Thank you so much for listening tonight. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast, share it with someone who loves horror and true crime. Until next time, lock your doors, trust your instincts, and remember, sometimes the scariest horror movies begin with something that actually happened. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.